Okay, have all the non-Outer Wilds players gone? Okay, great. Ha, we really fucked them, didn't we? Back when I was being recommended Outer Wilds, it never occurred to me that it was because the people who had played it were so traumatized by it that they wanted me to play it so that I could share their trauma. It's like finding a disgusting video online and sending it to your friend. Like, you say that you did it because it's funny, but there's a part of you that knows that it just doesn't want to be alone in the horrors that you've seen. This game crushed me. When I walked into Outer Wilds, I expected space-tastic whimsy with a bit of galactic history thrown in there, and what I got was some of the most emotional highs of gaming in memory. Now, I'm far too terrified of it to be the kind of person who wishes her memory had been wiped so she could play it again. I will not do the Depths of Space again, I cannot, but I will now recommend this to everyone I know. So as we work through the Outer Wilds, we learn, beyond the immediacy of our situation and how to solve it, that the time trial loop we are in is man-made, or rather Nomai-made. An inbuilt safety system that triggers in the event of the solar system's sun going supernova, producing enough energy to lock the Nomai, or so they thought, into a 22-minute cycle they maintain their memories between, so that they can solve whatever issues have arisen. However, the Nomai are long dead, and you've been imprinted by a Nomai statue. Now, as we learn at the end of the universe, the literal final 22 minutes of all life in existence forever, your sun supernovas, and you're trapped in a time loop that no longer has a purpose to serve. All the time we're flying around, we see other suns going supernova, and I initially assumed that was a way for us to mark how long we'd been in the loop. You know, maybe they act like the North Star except for remaining time. Not so. The stars are exploding because there is nothing left. All we can be grateful for is the fact that you have the rocket, since you and some lazy fellow called Gabbro are the only people in said loop who are aware of what's going on and are the only people who can fix it. If this happened a day earlier, you would be fucked, stranded on Timberhearth watching this sun destroy itself over and over again. On our journeys, we discover a lot of gut wrench. We find one remaining Nomai trapped in time on the Quantum Moon, neither living or dead. Solanum, the last of her species, stands alone on a frontier of misery, and when I found her, I stood with her until the sun died so that she wouldn't be lonely. We find a grave of Nomai in Dark Bramble, confused by the signals that are garbled by space-time inside the planet, gathered around a red herring. Their oxygen ran out hundreds of thousands of years ago, but we can still find them there, gathered around the fake beacon, holding each other in death. Their corpses are hugging. We find the Interloper, a comet that exploded and wiped out their entire race, firing ghost matter across the galaxy and killing everything it encountered, including the two poor Nomai inside who were hurrying to call for help. I never thought a game could be this sad. Now, I suppose there are two endings to this game, and I'm going to talk about them just more as a way to process my emotional response than for any analytical reason. In the first, you find the mechanism keeping this solar system trapped in time, and you unplug the warp core used to power it, and the music that typically plays in the final moments of the loop begins here. You can go outside and wait for the sun to finally die if you like, pitching up camp wherever you want. I go and sit by Chert, a fellow camped out in the Ember Twin closest to the sun, and just hang out with him, eating marshmallows while he goes catatonic with Terra next to me. The hardest part of solving the mystery of Outer Wilds, the many hours you spend scouring the galaxy for answers, searching for knowledge, hungry for more, is that in the end, you don't win. Like, you don't discover a revelation, you don't triumph over any evil, you don't reverse the horrors happening around you. You merely unplug the life support of a dying universe, sit down, listen to the saddest OST on God's green earth, and watch life itself come to a quiet end, and it is a feeling so empty I never thought I would find it in a game. The second ending is, I suppose, a bit more hopeful, but crushed me nonetheless. So if you've been exploring thoroughly, you'll have heard of something known as the Eye, a nebulous entity that has overshadowed your explorations throughout the galaxy without ever really being present. The only way to access it is through the use of the prior mentioned warp core, plug it into the vessel, a powerful ship trapped in Dark Bramble with the coordinates you found on Giant's Deep, and you'll get there. With the sound of pure melancholy playing in your ear, you zip into a twisting vortex of dark matter. Absolutely abysmal to approach and traverse if you have thalassophobia, I assure you. I could barely look at it, I wanted to be sick, but you know, we have a universe to preserve, so I put my big boy pants on. Following a siren song into the deepest pit, you plummet into a hole and wake up next to a bonfire. As you wander around in the dark, you find your friend's instruments and eventually your friend friends until you're all gathered around playing your music. If you met Solanum on your travels, she will be here and she will thank you for thinking of her here. Then the universe starts again. You and your friends and the pitch black nothingness of the eye of the universe become the building blocks for the Big Bang, and our time loop game reveals that it was itself part of a time loop as old as time itself when our universe begins anew. Despite the hopeful nature of this scene, there was something so deeply melancholic and lonely about this moment. I felt an aching sadness that I couldn't quite put a finger on. I felt cold and sad and distant and lost. Despite being surrounded by friends, there was something futile to it, like life was staggering on when maybe we should have just let it die. Even though we as a group are creating the same universe again from the beginning, allowing it to live another cycle, we return to the game in exactly the same place we started it, starting the same 22-minute cycle again, the same loop, the same person, walking in the footsteps of the same Nomai, the same text. Life began, and everything for the billions and trillions of years that it existed happened exactly the same way. Like the universe is just an inescapable loop of the same cycles happening over and over and over again, I felt doomed to repeat things down to the last minute. Outer Wilds made me feel lonely, no matter how beautiful it was.